And hello there, my name's Chris Reardon. This is our 3 times a week talk show, United Kingdom Talk. A warm welcome along to you. Now, when is the show on? Well, I'm afraid it's a complete mystery to me, the way you listen. I don't know how you either listen or watch the show, because we're on so many different levels, all of them usually at gutter level. As I mentioned in the last show, I am at gutter level, as you probably know that already. But if you're listening via the radio or an internet station, best to check your station schedule for details. Sounds important, that, doesn't it? Check your station details. Check your station's schedule for details. Why am I here 3 times a week? Well, I try and bring a little bit of happiness into your life. I do. There are people, like me, I'm afraid, who live alone. They are destined for a life of solitude. No matter how many people they try and chat up, they are constantly rebuked. Is that the word? Rebuked. So I hope that by coming into your home, perhaps... Am I crooked, by the way? I'm looking at the camera in front of me and I'm thinking it's crooked. Is it crooked? Oh, I can't stand that. Just a minute, dear. One minute. Here we are. Let's just... it looked a little bit lopsided to me. I was kind of, looked like I was leaning to one side. I'm leaning on the window, da 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 da. Who sung that one? That bloke with the ukulele, wasn't it? What was his name? Film bloke. Oh, can't remember now. Anyway, yes, 3 times a week. Now, if you want to watch as well as listen, although not necessarily at the same time, you can have me sort of flickering away. You know, if you're on your own at home, what you could do is put this show on a laptop, right? Then put the laptop on a settee while you're at home on your own, run the show, and it would be like someone sitting next to you, wouldn't it? Eh? You could put your arm around the laptop. Yes! You could do that. And it would be like a friend sitting next to you. Do you know what I do when I'm at home on my own? Oh, no, please. I told you before, this is a family show. Don't come out with stuff like that. Please. It is a family show. You've got such mucky minds sometimes. Don't be saying that while I'm doing my programme. Please. Do you know what I do when I'm alone? No, you don't. What do you do when you're alone? Huh? Let me know. There's an email address to the show. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Come on, what do you do when you're sitting there at home alone? That's it, home alone. Huh? Does the telly go on? Do you do a bit more cooking? Do you do a bit more eating? What do you do? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I do try and make you a little bit happy. But we have had a couple of emails in from someone over the last week. His name is Waynie. Now, he lives in Reading, in Berkshire. Notice, I don't, in this case, say Royal Berkshire. Okay? Because Reading... I am in Royal Berkshire. Reading is in Berkshire. Now, the reason there's a difference there is because Reading, I'm afraid it's one of those places you really don't want to live in. And Waynie happens to live there. It's a bit like, it's like the poor... Bracknell is fairly posh. Where I am, it's quite posh, to be honest, you know. Here in Bracknell, we don't have stuff like, very rarely, like bad weather. We don't really have bad weather here. We pay extra to the council, and God knows, do I pay extra for it. We pay extra to have summer all year round. Yes? In this borough, we're not even allowed to feed the birds. Feed the birds, 2p a bag, 2p a bag, depending on, of course, which shop you go to. If you was to go to Harrods or Bentall's or somewhere like that, probably cost you a lot more than 2p a bag. But if you remember, I received that letter from the council only a few weeks ago, informing me that I am no longer allowed to feed the wild animals of Bracknell. Now, do you remember me telling you about that? Well, since then, I was talking to my neighbour 3 doors down. Oh, she's a wonderful woman. Pearl, my neighbour. She's married to Les, and they've got 3 children, but they've all... The children have flown the nest. They have flown away. So it's only those 2 there now. And I said, do you know what? I got a letter from the council. She said, what about? I said, feeding birds. She said, oh, it's not you. I said, what do you mean? She said, we all got one of those. And I'm like, oh. I thought they were pointing the finger at me, because I'm always out the front putting bits of bread down and bits of cake for the birds. And, you know, I don't know why anyone's complained about that, really, because it's all gone in 10 minutes. The birds flock down. They flock. And they land. Usually, it's the little ones that land first. You know, the little cute birds like sparrows and red robins and blue tits. And they all land on the garden. They start pecking. Tweet, 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 tweet. And then the big, fat, ugly magpies land and frighten them all off. Blooming great fat... Oh, they're horrible things, magpies. Don't you think? Horrible things. Magpies. And they steal nests. They do. They steal other birds' nests. But anyway, all this bread is gone in 10 minutes. Well, I got this letter saying you mustn't feed animals and all this business and put food to... because it attracts rats. Well, I mean, rats have got to eat, haven't they? I mean, I think they're a bit... The council are being a bit anti-rat here. And we need to set up a Facebook group about that. Bracknell Council Anti-Rats Horror or something like that. They must have a support group, rats, I reckon. You know, one of those things where you get an 0800 number? Rat line. Yes. Rat line support group. That's what we need. Well, it wasn't just me who got the letter, apparently. Pearl got one as well as all the neighbours around here. So thank God for that. I thought I was being singled out, boys and girls. I thought I was being picked on. I hate it when people pick on me. They do. They pickle me. Pick on me, rather. They pick on me. So there we are. Anyway, so Wayne lives in this awful place called Reading. Reading, how can I describe it? It's a little... If you're in New York, it's a bit like the Bronx. You know, you don't really want to go outside after 5 o'clock. It's a dangerous area. Really is. Awful, awful place, Reading. Lots of shops there, which are quite busy. I mean, people are very, very brave to go shopping now, I think. They have a shopping centre called the Oracle, which, you know, fair enough. It's got some nice shops in there. But it's one of those all under one roof places. I hate those. I just hate shopping centres. So clinical. I mean, if I wanted to go into a hospital, I'd make sure I was ill. They're a bit like hospitals, aren't they? Do you not think? Shopping centres, not keen on them at all. And they're hot places, aren't they? Even in the summer with the air conditioning on, shopping centres are hot. And they've got this road that goes around Reading called the IDR. Now, you haven't got a clue what that means, have you? No? Neither has anyone else that lives outside of Reading. You've got to be in Reading to understand what that means. It's the Inner Distribution Road. You get on that road, and if by chance, and it's easy to do, if by chance you miss your turning, you've had it, mate. You have absolutely had it. You're going to go all the way down to the roundabout at the end and then come back round again and probably miss it again because you don't know where you are. Dreadful place. Reading used to be nice. About 15 years ago. Oh, let me think around about 10 years ago before they changed all the road. It was quite nice. Not now. Don't like Reading at all. Well, I am in my little Toyota Aygo driving around and trying to find places. Incidentally, my car... Do you know my car's 3 years old now? Do you remember when I used to sit here and I would tell you about I was considering buying a new car? 3 years old at the end of the month. Unbelievable, isn't it? And it needs an MOT now. MOT, it's a bit like a health check for the car. They look at bits and pieces and check that it's still roadworthy and safe. That's how it works. I mean, I am a proper You know, car person. Oh, yeah. A lot of puffs watching this show now. A lot of puffs watching and listening to this show now, aren't you, boys? Eh? I know you're there. And they haven't got a clue what goes on underneath that bonnet, have you? You just don't have a clue. What you need is a real man like me to look after you and your car. That's what it is. I lift the bonnet. Do you know, once I even managed, right, to fill up the water reservoir that sprays the water on the windscreen when you get those nasty little insects trying to get into your cabin. I'm a real... I can do things like that. And on another occasion, I actually washed the car manually by hand. No machine required. Just a hose, a bucket, a sponge and some soap. Marvellous. You see, a proper car mechanic, that's me. Butch. Anyway, so that's Reading. And Waynie, after I sit here and toil for hours trying to bring some sparkle and happiness into your life, we went a little bit serious a couple of shows ago, talking about the swine flu. Achoo! Catch it in a tissue, quickly. Oh my God, no tissue. That's it. You've all got swine flu. It's all coming out your computer now. Which, let's face it, talking of the flu, that appears, for some strange reason, to have disappeared from the news. Have you noticed that? Why is no one talking about it now? Very odd. It's all gone quiet. It's all gone quiet over there. It's all gone quiet over there. Do you like my football chants? You see, Butch. That's me. I did go to a football match once to cut the oranges up at half-time. I have no interest in football whatsoever. My dad, yes, he was a supporter. He loved his football. Queen's Park Rangers. When he died, my mum had this flower arrangement made in the colours of Queen's Park Rangers, which was quite nice. I hated football. You used to have it on every Sunday afternoon. Oh, it used to do my brain in. And all that noise. What's all that screaming about? It's only 22 men kicking around a ball on a pitch. That's all it is. Please tell me the excitement. I mean, it's not like there's a big scoreboard like on the Eurovision Song Contest, which is coming up in just a few days' time. The Eurovision Song Contest, and Jade Ewan will be singing our song. It's my time, my moment. I don't want to let go of it. Sung by the great Andrew Lloyd Webber. Now, there's a man I'd like to meet. Comes across as a very nice man, doesn't he? A very caring man. A little bit like myself. You see, it is possible to be nice and caring and butch at the same time. You don't have to be like Sylvester Stallone. You certainly wouldn't want to be like his mother. Nice woman, I'm sure she is. Just a little bit too much cosmetic surgery. I've had none, as you can count the rings around my eyes and you can guess my age. My sister likes to mention those as much as possible, the lines around my eyes. Oh, evil woman. She's an evil woman. Anyway, can we get to this email, please? You're throwing me off the subject here. I try and stick to the schedule, and you just throw me off the subject. I don't know how you manage to do that sometimes, but here we go. After just doing a little smidgen on the swine flu, Wayne writes, I've just watched your show last week on Thursday, and God, I'm now depressed. Where's the light-heartedness gone? Heartedness gone. Please smile. Take care, Waynie. I'll smile for you, Wayne. There you go. Oh, for God's sake, Wayne. Because this show is about life. You know, it's not all smiley, happy all the time. As we know, with your sad, lonely, pathetic life. Ah? And then he wrote down again. So I wrote back to him. Sometimes I'll send you a little private personal email, and it's something like, stop moaning. And he says, hi Chris, stop worrying about this flu. I'm sorry you're taking things a bit too far and are bordering on scaring people. All people in this country are currently responding well to treatment. Carry on as normal, Waynie. Well, you won't be saying that if you get it, dear, will you? He won't be saying that, if he start... Achoo! That's it, mate. Oh, God's sake. Why on earth would you don't know... Do you know who are? Who are? Do you know who are? The World Health Organization. Why have they raised it to level 5 then? If it's not a problem. Come on. Christ's sake, Waynie. Get with it, dear. He also says, P.S. I need to email your letter from the council, but I have got time at the moment. Are you sending me an email? Okay. PPS, I run antivirus before sending this email, so no viruses are attached. Well, thank you for that, Waynie. I want to say that I appreciate that. No viruses coming down my computer lines. Thank you very much. Thank you, Wayne. It's been a while since you wrote, you see. I get lonely. Why don't you ever write anymore? Is it me? Is it me? Please tell me. Otherwise, I shall start eating bags of crisps and swearing like a certain other podcaster has started doing. What's all that about? What's with the constant... Oh, it sounds vile, dear. Eating while you're doing a programme. We don't like that at all. Now, what else have I got to tell you? Oh, more depressing news, especially for Waynie. In that I weighed myself this morning... and we're bordering on 13 stone 7. So we've gone up another 3 pounds. Very, very depressing. My friend Ron tells me he's convinced it's bread and portion sizes. Now, we all like a big portion, don't we, boys and girls? I certainly have never, ever said no to anything. We all like a large portion. We don't want a small one. It just doesn't fill you up, does it? Be honest now, you can't feel it as it goes down. You need a big portion. Nice. And I think I'm gonna find it hard to cut down on my portion sizes. I don't know, when you're out somewhere, nice place, wherever, I don't know, somewhere like somewhere where you can relax and, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of where now. You don't want to go in there and look sort of for a small portion, do you? Like somewhere like Chariots. You wouldn't want to go there and have a small... You have to have big portions. And indeed, when I'm here at home, I'm exactly the same. I like a large portion. I do. There's nothing worse than going to one of those Ponzi places. Now, what are they called now? Not a la carte. Is it cordon bleu? Oh, I don't know. When you go and you order your things, and this plate arrives, and there's right in the middle of the plate, there's this tiny little bit of meat, a couple of vegetables, and some sort of sauce poured over the top, and it's like 80 quid. Oh, no, thank you, dear. God's sake. And you eat it. And you're not full. It hasn't filled you up. We need a reasonable sized portion. Okay, can I go... all right, fair enough. If I can go from a large portion to a reasonable size, will I notice the difference? That's the thing. You see, the trouble is, if you're used to having large portions all the time, the smaller portions, you're just not going to feel them, are you? That's the thing. But my friend Ron reckons I should cut it. It's bread and the proportions are too large. I must now take this weight thing and sort it out, dear. Although people are telling me how well I look. So you can't win, can you? You can't win. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is my email address. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, another podcast for you to try out, okay, is the Bracknell 4. The website of that one is Bracknell4, that's as a number, .com. BRACKNELL 4.com. They also host a talk show. It's a talk show, a talk and music show. They host the same kind of podcast on a radio station, local radio station in Bracknell. And it's very good. Very good. The content's good. The volume goes up and down a bit, but if you're okay with that, give it a go. It's a very laddie podcast for friends, just talking about whatever. And I quite like it. All right, so have a go with that one. Let me know what you think. And if you do send them an email, tell them you found us through Chris at United Kingdom Talk, okay? Once again, www.thebracknell4. Oh, is it the? Let me just have a quick look. Just a minute now. Want to get this right. There it is. Yeah, there it is. 1 minute. Yes. www.thebracknell4.com. Okay? www.thebracknell4.com. Little podcasts for you to try there. Now, good news about my clothing that I wear for the show. Of course, if you're listening, well, actually, I do think it makes a difference. If you kind of dress up to do something or make yourself a little bit smarter, do you know, I think you perform better. Do you think so? Although this isn't so much of a performance, more of a little show. Excuse me. I do think you perform better. Anyway, if you watch the show, you will know I have a limited selection of shirts. Well, good news, boys and girls. I have been on eBay and I have purchased a few more shirts. Not all the ones that I wanted. All the shirts that are coming are ones that I wanted. I did try and buy some more, but unfortunately, I was outbid, boys and girls. I was outbid. It's a liberty. That's what it is. Outbid. Let me have a cough. Someone else was bidding against me. I'm not paying £15 for a shirt, dear. I've told you that before. I'm not paying. For a shirt, £12, absolute maximum. And then you've got the postage, another £2, dear. But Ben Sherman shirts are coming. There's about 4 or 5 of them. So at last I shall be wearing some different shirts for you, okay? I thought I would push the boat out and spend a few pounds on new clothes. I just don't care this week. I've gone mad. So hopefully we'll have 1 or 2 of those ready for the next couple of shows, okay? I think that's all to tell you today. Yep. Oh, have you? By the way, have you seen the Star Trek film yet? I told you to go and see it, didn't I? Who's seen the Star Trek film now since I last mentioned it? Fantastic. If you haven't seen it yet, you must go and see it. You will love it. And when you've been, tell me what you thought. Email in and tell me what you thought of the show. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Oh, the pyjama party. That was it. The pyjama party last week? Last Saturday, wasn't it? The pyjama party. Very successful. Although disappointing with the amount of people that actually dressed up in pyjamas. There were only, I suppose, about 10 of us. I had a rather nice pyjama jacket on, actually. That, funnily enough, looks better than the shirts I wear. So what I may have to do is get a few more sets of pyjamas to do the show. All right. I don't know what's wrong with this chair today. I keep slipping down in the chair. I think I need to be velcroed to the back of the chair. This is the trouble with the leather stuff, isn't it? I've got a lovely leather settee downstairs. It's quite a few years old now. It's not an antique one or anything like a modern one, G-plan, I think it is. And the cushions are always sliding off the chair, and you have to push them back onto the chair before you sit on it. Most inconvenient. I like those Chesterfield ones, with the buttons in it. Oh, they're beautiful. There, and very comfortable, aren't they? You get what you pay for, dear. Yes, you get what you pay for. Right, email time, boys and girls. First of all, it's Lisa. Hello, Lisa. Listening via live365.com. And she says, happy to tell you so far I have not missed a show. She says, Saturday's show a few weeks ago was a surprise for me to find I have a secret admirer. Yep, this email's about 3 weeks old. All I can say is thanks to Wayne, or my essay is... Well, I don't know what that means. All I can say to Wayne, or my SAR is... SAR? What's a SAR? S-A? S-A. Oh, secret admirer. Is that what a SAR is, a secret admirer? I've never heard of that expression. Is that an American thing, dear? We don't do abbreviations on this programme. You know, CR on UKT. How are you? Hello. Oh, perhaps I should open like that, do you think? Hello, this is CR on UKT. H. Oh, what did H mean? H means hello. Yeah. I don't know. Thank you very much for a sweet compliment. Oh, that. I'm sure you'd be, but Wayne watches and listens to this programme intently, don't you? He does. Chris, that was sure funny about how your niece and her boyfriend's short stay increased electricity usage at your house and caused such a stir. I think it would be really weird, though, for me to receive a call like that. Really feels more and more like the world portrayed in 1984 each day, doesn't it? Big Brother sees and knows all, it seems. Yikes. Oh, you must be referring to the call I mentioned that I said I've got from the electricity board telling me, was everything okay? Because my electricity consumption had suddenly gone up 200-fold. Because of my niece and her boyfriend staying. Actually, Lisa, it was a joke, darling. It didn't really happen. I know, I thought I'd tickle your little arms there, and I think you've taken that little one a little bit too seriously, Lisa. I hope you don't mind me saying that, lovey. I mean that in a nice way. It's like Wayne. He thought it was a bit serious the other day with the flu. Well, it's all very worrying, dear. Lisa, I hope you're not sneezing. Are you okay, my love? Paper masks, that's the only way to do it, dear. Paper masks. Lisa's been having a little bit of a problem with her internet service provider. I'm on Virgin Media here, wherever I am. 50 meg, very, very fast. Marvellous, dear. Marvellous. She says, I hope to be able to keep my current internet service provider as it is. I found out recently and shared with Suko that there are so many people having to cut back on things because of economic problems that most companies, including the phone and internet service providers, have a department called the Customer Retention Department. And now, and most people are now more receptive to working out lower fees and the like, so that people will not stop their services completely due to needing to cut their monthly budgets. It was a pleasant surprise for me to find this out. Well, I know what you mean, Lisa. I've had to cut back left, right, and centre, dear. Left, right, and cutbacks all over the place. I can no longer shop in Marks and Spencer's food departments or even Waitrose. I now have to go to Lidl or Asda. I can't afford to spend money out on food. Today, I've decided to completely cut out a meal because I can't afford to eat anymore. It's either eat or do this show. Now, what would you rather me do? Terrible. We have to make decisions. I mean, it's getting terrible here. Possibly, over the next few shows, I may have to do it with the lights out. So it may look like I'm sitting in a very dark place. I mean, it is daytime while I'm creating the show at the moment, and the light is on in here. But we may have to do it with the lights out to save electricity. It's terrible. Terrible. For God's sake. It's terrible. The cat's downstairs. She hasn't been fed for 3 weeks. It's getting thinner and thinner. It's getting so bad. When I put my hand down to stroke her, she tries to eat my finger. Terrible. Please send Red Cross parcels immediately. Onward. Lisa, who's incidentally in California. California, here I come. I've never been there, dear. California. You have a terrible traffic problem, don't you, there? Oh, I can't be doing without sitting in traffic. No. Actually, last week on a Tuesday, I had to go to a hospital in London, and on the way there, I got caught in traffic on the motorway, and instead of the journey taking about an hour and 10 minutes, it took me 3 hours. What a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Awful traffic last Monday. So next time I go anywhere like that to London during the daytime, it's the train for me. Woo, woo. Well, they don't do that anymore, do they? I like the trains. My uncle goes on holiday on trains. My uncle and Uncle Malcolm and Auntie Brenda go on train holidays. Yeah, because my auntie, she doesn't like flying at all. So they go on train holidays to Spain. They've been to Moscow, all on the train. How fantastic is that? But I get lost at the foreign stations. I'm sure I would get lost at the foreign stations, you see. How do you know what the names are saying? Well, it's all in foreign, isn't it? Why can't everyone write in English? It would be so much easier, dear. Lisa says, wish I was able to attend those karaoke bar sing-alongs you mentioned. Yes, I do a karaoke night. All are welcome. And they can join us every Monday night at Belush's Bar in Hammersmith. That's in London. Very, very, very close to the tube station there. And that starts at 9 o'clock, unless there's football, in which case we start straight after the football. Okay? And that carries on till about 12:30. And it's free to come in. Free to come in. But don't be sitting there ordering glasses of water. At least have the decency to buy a drink. Oh, we've seen that in there a few times. People come in and they order, they go to the bar and they ask for a glass of water, which I think, quite frankly, is taking the mick, isn't it? It's taking a mick. Do try and buy 1 or 2 drinks while you're there, dear. Otherwise, I don't get my wages. And then I'll have even less money to live on like I have now. Belush's Bar, Hammersmith, every Monday night in London from 9 o'clock or after the football, right through until close at around about 12:30. It'd be lovely to come and hear you singing a song. What would you sing, Lisa? Would it be an old-time song? There's a bloke who comes down called Tim, also known as Timbo, who actually travels around to lots of different karaoke places, and he has got a fantastic voice. And he doesn't look like he should have a fantastic voice. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Do you understand what I mean? Look, it's like me. Do I look like a singer to you? No. And indeed I'm not. No, I do have a little go. Now and again I have a little go, as you know, in a song or two. But Tim is, he's got the most fantastic voice. He really has. Timbo. Lisa says, sure sounds like a lot of fun. I must remember to sing to you sometime. You are always singing to us, aren't you? Yeah, well, now and again I like to do a little song, yeah. In fact, what day is it today? I can't remember what day it is today. I tell you what I might do on the next show is sing you our Eurovision song. And I'll see if I can do it any better than our entrant. Because we've got the Eurovision Song Contest. I think it's this Saturday. I can't remember now what the day is. I'm sure it's Saturday, isn't it? Representing the UK, Jade Ewan. It's my time, my mom. Oh, I love it. We've got a chance this year. Have a wonderful week, Chris. I promise to do the same. Lots of hugs from Lisa in California, USA, where the sun shines constantly. You must get solar panels, Lisa. Now, David on the Isle of Wight. Good evening, David. Who says, hi Chris, I was watching your show about the peppers and the vegetables. You remember we were talking about, I seem to have taken a liking now to eating raw peppers for some reason. Obviously not chili peppers. Christ, blow me head off, wouldn't they? Normal peppers, are they sweet peppers? I don't know what they're called. And you just cut bits off and eat them. Very tasty. The reason why you pay more for the stuff in the supermarket is it's all to do with the packaging, the value. The value of stuff is the cheapest. Oh, sorry, I've read that wrong. The reason why you pay more for stuff in the supermarket, it's all to do with the packaging. The value stuff is the cheapest because you often get, for example, peppers. You'd have a packet of normal peppers and ones that would be called value peppers or basics. And I was asking, what's the difference? How can one pepper be different than the other? Someone else wrote in on the last show and said that they thought that the other ones were a bit older and that's why they were cheaper. David on the Isle of Wight says, we have to buy some value items and sometimes the value stuff is better than paying more. And that's from David on the Isle of Wight. So he reckons they're all the same. Don't know. I've no idea, really. Right. Joe from AmericanTalkUSA.com, who recently sent me some pictures of the two ladies in his life. His wife, his gorgeous wife, Amy, and their daughter. Very, very good-looking ladies, I have to say, Joe. I had no idea. And he also includes a picture of his new doggy. Oh, tiny little doggy. Gorgeous. And what's the dog's name? Do we know? I don't know what your dog's name is. What is your new little doggy's name, Joe? Anyway, I was asking Joe to ask Brenda, who is like, she does a few inserts on Joe's podcast. Joe does a podcast, AmericanTalkUSA.com, okay? AmericanTalkUSA.com. I was asking about vegetables and eating them raw and that sort of thing. And here we go. Joe writes, this is a good thing to share with everyone. According to licensed dietitian Miss Brenda, here are some tips. As far as veggies go, foods that we normally associate with high levels of vitamin B and C, like spinach and broccoli, lose a significant amount of their nutritional value when cooked. Eating raw veggies is not always the best way to eat our vegetables. So that's interesting. I always thought it was. She usually recommends microwaving or, better yet, wrapping the veggies in aluminium foil and baking. Also, you can slice veggies and broil them in the oven. Conventional cooking, such as boiling, typically cause most of the water-soluble vitamins and minerals in fresh vegetables to be lost in that form of preparation. Eat lots of tomatoes and use canned tomatoes, yes, even ketchup and tomato sauce, because they have been cooked, which increases the level of lycopene. Is it lyco or lycopene? I'm not sure. Lycopene, which may lower the risk of cancer. And tomatoes are great antioxidant sources. Do you know, I don't know why, but I'm ever so uncomfortable in this chair today. I've never been uncomfortable in this chair. Do you think that the foam might have worn out? Maybe my bum's got so heavy now that it's worn the foam out. Consume good fats. Olive oils, yes, I have those. Walnuts, flax seed. Well, I don't know what flax seed is. And organic soya products like soya milk. No more than 3 or 4 ounces of meat per meal. Eat fish. Go easy on red meat. Thumbs up for lean, skinless chicken and lean pork. Breads, rice and cereals. Stay away from anything white. Now, again, I do that. White enriched flour has been highly processed and the nutritional value has been lost. So eat whole grain bread, rice and pasta. Well, again, I do that. Now, interesting here. All these things you're telling me, right? I'll tell you typically what I eat. I do eat a lot of fruit. Certainly in the morning. More in the slight lie there, I think. I eat in the morning for breakfast a big bowl. I mean a big bowl, and it might have strawberries, grapes, chopped up banana, chopped up what's that stuff? Kiwi fruit or blueberries, depending on which is on special offer at the supermarket, and that's topped with some bran flakes. That's usually my breakfast. Lunch, I will have something. Might be a pre-packaged meal actually at lunchtime, but it will always be the low-fat version with less salt and less sugar. Here in the UK, we now get little pie charts on a lot of the ready-made food things, okay? And on the pie chart, it tells you how much salt and sugar are in. And if there's anything that's red, because it has a red colour, it has yellow, red and green. If it's red, it means it's got quite a lot of your daily allowance of a particular type of thing, whether it be saturated fat or salt or sugar. So I very, very rarely buy anything that's in the red on these things. They have a special section, certainly in the supermarket I have to go to at the moment, Sainsbury's, they have a section that says, be good to yourself. And all these have much lower levels. And do you know what? It doesn't taste much different anyway. Funny, isn't it? They're usually a little bit more expensive, but better for you. So I'll have that. But also with that, I will have some sort of vegetable that I've done myself. Now, I do buy mixed frozen organic vegetables in a packet. And I'll usually steam those, or I might have a raw pepper and 2 or 3 tomatoes. That's a typical lunch. It's also a typical dinner as well. I do chicken now and again. I will roast the chicken with olive oil, okay, with olive oil on the top. I'll either do a roast chicken or some roast chicken breasts, which don't taste long. I might put some vegetables in the oven, that sort of thing. And again, cover them with extra virgin olive oil. So I think, and bread I make myself. I make wholemeal bread with wholemeal flour. Rice, I have wholemeal rice. So I think I'm doing pretty well. I come off the wagon sometimes. I might have a bag of crisps on the way home from the swimming pool. Or on a Thursday and a Sunday, I usually have chili con carne and a jacket potato with butter. But they're the only times, really, that I don't eat, perhaps, properly. Twice a week. I would say twice a week. Very rarely have burgers. Or I tell you another thing I quite like, bean burgers. Or they're very, very tasty. And I make them out of all these sort of beans and that, and stick them all together, and you put them under the grill. Oh, they're really ever so spicy. I like spicy. I add salt to nothing. I add sugar to nothing, except when I'm making bread, you have to put a little bit in there to make the yeast rise. So don't add any salt or any sugar. No, not even to potatoes. That's a surprise. People will say to you, oh, how can you eat potatoes without salt? Well, easy, I do. So I think I'm not doing too bad, am I, Joe? He says, one final tip, eat more often and consume less. I think she eats 6 very small meals per day instead of the typical 3 meals a day. And as she always says, it's calories in, calories out, and everything in moderation. Now, Brenda does have a website. I'm going to give this to you to have a look at. Okay? Get your pen ready. Her website is, if you want to find out more about this, lifeskillsnutrition.com. Once again, lifeskillsnutrition.com. That's Brenda's website. And she does all this business about what you can eat and vitamins and all this. Once again, lifeskillsnutrition.com. That's Brenda. Joe also goes on to say, in your April the 28th show, I think it's the first time someone has called me quiet. Yeah, because Joe's been a bit quiet recently. No emails coming through. I wondered what had been going on in his life. He says, I copied her this in just in case she wants to apply a bit of correction. So Brenda got the email as well. Thank you, Joe. I'm sure she'll be happy you mentioned her on the show. Cheers for now, my friend. All the best from the family. Thank you very much, Joe. The puppy's name is Emery. Sorry, there's a name. We've got Ashley, his daughter, Amy, his wife, and Emery, the puppy. And they're gorgeous ladies that you got there, your wife and your daughter. Absolutely stunning looks there. You must be very proud of your family there. And of course, your new little doggy. It's a bit small, isn't it? It's more like a cat. It's like a barking. Have you got a barking cat? Thanks, Joe. Great to hear from you. Right. Let me see here. Where are we going now? Ah, yes. It's young Tom. Tom in Chicago. Da-da-da-da-da. Hello, Tom. Who says, hi, Chris. You were talking about British TV shows. And he says, I think a lot of Americans do appreciate British television. If they didn't, there wouldn't be such a huge market for BBC America. Not to mention a slew of vapid reality shows based on British ones like, oh God, you've mentioned it now, Big Brother. Oh. And funnily enough, there was a bloke talking on the radio about this last night. I just have never really got into that at all. Bunch of freaks on the telly. It's just awful. Just awful, that reality show, I tell you. I don't own a TV, but I do watch DVDs of old shows, sometimes on the computer. What, let me see. Oh, yes, you mentioned those further down. When I'm visiting Britain, I probably watch more TV than I should because the bed and breakfasts where I stay usually have TVs in the room. Sometimes I'll get into watching some really weird reality show or watching snooker or British football. Yeah, do you know, funnily enough, when I go on holiday, I think I seem to watch quite a lot of television when I'm on holiday. Maybe because I don't watch much while I'm here. I remember certainly being, in the year 2000, I think it was 2000, I last went to Florida. And I remember having a couple of nights. What did I used to do at night in Florida? I don't know, actually. Because when Disney closes, it is quite late anyway, isn't it? It's about 11 o'clock. Yes, that's quite late. But I do remember having a couple of nights in, and I just watched the television when I was in Florida. It's quite nice, just laying on your bed watching the television. And I did the same in Sydney. A couple of nights I decided to stay in the hotel room and watch the television. Nothing wrong with that. You do what you like when you're on holiday, Tom. He says, of the current British shows, I like Doctor Who, Torchwood, and The Weakest Link. Me too. I like all of these. Older shows I like are Monty Python, Doctor in the House, Fawlty Towers, Father Ted, that's a good one. And even though no one has heard of it in the US these days, The Goodies. One of the silliest shows ever. Oh, I know The Goodies. Goodies, goody, goody, yum, yum. Do you remember the giant dog, Dougal? Did you see the episode with the giant dog, Dougal? They were very funny, that lot, weren't they? Bill Oddie, who's the one with the beard, he went on to present nature programmes and bird watching and all that business. He's very good at it. Tim Taylor, I think he hosts or hosted a few game shows. Graham Garden, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what he does now, actually. Graham Garden. No idea. Because we are going back about 30 years here, aren't we? The Goodies were so funny. Very, very funny programme. More recently, I've become reacquainted with the original Randall and Hopkirk, deceased. Yeah, that was good. And Yes Minister. Well, what about Dad's Army? Do you like Dad's Army? Or Are You Being Served? Have you seen either of those? They're quite good. I love Dad's Army. They're rerunning it again at the moment on BBC Two here in the UK, and I just adore Dad's Army. It always has me in stitches. And there's very few of those still alive, the people in that. Arthur Lowe died many years ago now, who plays Captain Mannering. I mean, no, I don't think anyone else could have played that character, could they? Clive Dunn, he's the old, believe it or not, he's one of the older members of the cast. He is actually still alive. Clive Dunn, he's the old one with glasses. Don't panic, don't panic. He made a record years ago called Grandad. Grandad, Grandad, love you, that's what you all mean to me, or something like that it went. And Pike is still alive. He was the silly boy. Oh, I've just dropped the pen, just a minute. Pike. Ian Lavender is his name. He's looking a lot older now. Of course he is. I mean, 30 years has passed. And he was in EastEnders, which is a soap opera for a while. Ian Lavender. I like Little Britain in small doses. Too repetitive for me to sit and watch for long, though. Pete likes something, Pete is his other half, called The Mighty Bosch. Or Boosh. Is it Boosh or Bosch? Although I've never seen it. I can't imagine why. No, I've never seen that. What's all that? I've never even heard of it, to be honest. What's it all about? Let me know, Tom. As for the American shows, I can't say I like very many of them. I do like some sci-fi shows like Star Trek, especially Deep Space Nine. Now I didn't like Deep Space Nine, that's interesting. And Stargate SG-1. No, I never even saw Stargate SG-1, but I never see the shows when they first air, only later on DVD. I couldn't care less about stuff like Friends, no interest at all. No, me neither. Never saw an episode of Friends. I saw clips of it and I thought, this isn't funny. Didn't like the look of that at all. Although, of course, it must have been good. It was hugely popular, but not for me, and not for you either, Tom. I have only seen random episodes of Friends or Seinfeld on airplanes, of all places. What is Seinfeld? I don't even know that one. You see, that's how much... I don't watch much television at all, do I? Thank you very much, Tom. Nice to hear from you. Right. Chris Willis, who I'm pleased to say is now re-hosting his podcast, the-rant.co.uk. Right, another podcast, the-rant.co.uk. He had a little bit of a break because he was busy. Too busy to talk to his friends. Isn't that awful? Am I ever too busy to talk to you? No. How long we got? Hang on. Let me see. Okay, right. I have to keep an eye on the time. Hi, Chris. It seems like ages since I emailed in. Hope you are well. Well, yes, it has been ages, dear. Been ages and ages, Chris. Do join in. Don't be one of our unregular customers. Regular emails, it's the only way. Be regular. The doctor will tell you like that. It's best to be regular. Lots of fruit and veg. You don't want to start stuffing yourself up. It can be very painful. Great to see Nikki French on your show a couple of weeks ago. The both of you made it really good and the banter was all good fun. That's because we are fun people, Chris. You got to be fun and happy. Except when you're talking about the flu and then people like Wayne moan. Oh, he did moan, didn't he there, dear? Poor Wayne who lives in that dreadful place, Reading. You should come to Bracknell one day, Chris. Come and visit in Bracknell. It's very posh here. You know, make sure you wear nice clothes and a suit and that. Otherwise, they don't let you in. They've got customs at the end of the motorway. You have to go through customs now to come to Bracknell. A little photo. You have your photo taken, fingerprints taken, a sample of blood and everything else. A little lock of your hair taken off. And then, if you're lucky, they run you through the scanners and then you're allowed in. No one with flu's allowed in, incidentally. There are no ill people in Bracknell. We don't allow it. We absolutely don't allow it. Not here in Royal Berkshire, dear. Chris says, I never knew Nikki came from Tenterden in Kent. Incidentally, Nikki's got a website, nickifrench.com. It's with a C, nickifrench.com, nickifrench.com. Okay, it's a good website, and they've got a forum on there as well. Lots of people on the forum, and they're all really nice people. There's none, you know, sometimes you go on these forums, and we've mentioned this a few times, and people are just vile on them. Such vile people on forums. And they seem to do like nothing better than to slate people and tear people apart. Oh, dear. One of my many alarms going off. That's my 12 o'clock time signal, boys and girls, which informs me that I've only got 3 minutes left. So I'll have to hurry up now, otherwise we'll run out of time. Yes, she comes from Tenterden in Kent. nickifrench.com. Have a look at her website. nickifrench. nickifrench.com. Lovely people on there and good looking people as well. Dare I say, there's this bloke on there called PJ who's gorgeous. He's up in Scotland somewhere. Oh, I'd give my right arm. Oh, it doesn't matter, love. If you can remember, I'm a bus driver, and up until about 2 months ago, Tenterden was on a regular route I serviced. Such a beautiful little town, and she was not wrong when she said it looks nothing like any other high street. That's the nice thing. Do you know what, Chris? That's one thing I've wanted to do as a job, drive a bus. Can you give us a bit more information on that? Can like anyone drive a bus? What do you need to do that? I really would. And can you do it part-time? I'd like to drive. I think that would be a really good job to do because you meet people all the time coming on a bus. I bet the old dears talk to you. I love that, talking to old dears, don't you? Oh, they're such interesting people. So much more interested than the young girls sitting on the till in the supermarket who've got nothing to do than sneer at you as you come through with your items. Not that I go to them anymore. Oh, no. I use the self-service checkout. I love it now. I used to hate that. Do you remember that back last year when I started using them and I wasn't very good at it? I used to get it wrong. And this thing where there is an undisclosed item in the bagging area. Please remove this item and try again. I love it. I haven't got to talk to those stuck-up cows on the tills anymore. Even when I do go to the tills, I make sure I go to someone with a bit of age, a bit of character. Not these, these young blonde bimbos sitting there as miserable as sin, dear. Oh, God. And you look at them and immediately they think you fancy one of them. Ah, no, thank you, darling. Your boyfriend might have a chance, but you don't. That's it. Chris goes on to say, most of the shops are clothes shops of unfamiliar names. And you know what they say? If you can't see the price of an item, then you can't afford it. I beg your pardon. You speak for yourself, Chris. You speak for yourself. I can afford all items in all shops. Pardon? Chris, I haven't got time to read the end of your email. We'll have to start off the next show with that, okay? Because it's time to go, boys and girls. Thank you, as always, very much for listening and watching the show today. Do join in by email, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I'll see you on the next show. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.